Hey guys, Ammy here. It is Souptember this month, so I couldn't kick it off with just bread after being away for so long. So we are taking a look at mastering the art of French cooking with Julia Child. I know this recipe has been done hundreds of times, but we are taking a look at the French onion soup. Now, this is going to be a long cook for me, as the onion soup needs... the onions for the onion soup need a long, slow cooking in butter and oil, then a slow simmer in stock for them to develop the deep, rich flavour. So we are going to be counting on around 2.5 hours from start to finish for this recipe. So to start with, we want to slowly cook the onions with butter and oil in a covered saucepan. Now I'm trying out my nice new induction hob so I can actually have cooking done up the front here, so I'm going to have to get the lid for my cast iron. Which, to be fair, in recent, I've basically just been using my cast iron for bread making. So she looks a little bit rough, but she will get there. So we want around 700 grams of onions. Now I'm probably going to go around there, maybe a little bit more, because she wants... I've got to convert all of these recipes, it's great. 1.5 pounds of thinly sliced onions. So I need about 700 grams, but so I'm probably going to go for more of the kilogram kind of. So these, I should probably, tear the scales before putting it on. So actually, those 3 onions are enough to make this. But I'm probably just going to whack in another onion. I got a nice knife to chop these up with. Well, that's a big sharp blade, so hopefully that will do. So yeah, at the moment, the lighting might be a bit weird because, I have a very janky setup. I don't want to get too into it, but if you've seen the update video, my ceiling is still kind of wet. It's not bad, but it's just damp, so my lights won't stick to it. Right, so we want to top and tail the onion, cut it in half, peel off the skin. Right, well, I don't know how much of that editing Ammy cut out, but I've decided to do the 3 onions. Purely because that's sticking close to the recipe, and it's Julia Child's recipe, not my recipe. I want to try and do it justice. So we are going to be following this recipe as close as we can. So it's going to be thinly slicing. Okay, and then when we get to that bit, so you're definitely seeing all of this onion chopped up. Makes me think 3 onions is definitely enough. Like, I know it's going to cook down. Oh, my eyes. Yeah, I know it's going to cook down, but... Oh. I can't see what I'm doing. Right, garlic, butter. Now, that is one thing. Because I don't use much butter, so I thought I would go for a fancy garlic butter. Just to add a little bit of extra flavour to it. I know I said... Ooh... Not that long ago, that is her recipe. I don't want to fight about with it too much. So yeah, cook the onions slowly with the butter and the oil. So we need 45 grams of butter and a table oil. So I'm guessing that's a tablespoon of oil. Now, do I want to get fancy and use like a garlic oil or just standard? I think I'll just use standard oil. Right. Absolutely love that little kitchen gadget. Highly recommend. Right. So we want 45 grams of this butter. How much? Oh, conveniently, it's split into 25s. So if we just go for about the 50-gram mark. So 25, 50 would be about there. About there. Right, let's throw that in there. I'm sure I can use that garlic butter for something later on. Right, let's see how this thing works. Turn it on. Power. Seems about right. It's the joy of testing it live. Right, so let's kind of prop that back up somehow. Ooh, that was already sizzling. That is the joy of induction, I guess. Right, just to mess with people that know me, I'm going to use a wooden spoon. Right, so yes, we want to cook the onions slowly with the butter in a covered saucepan for 15 minutes. Right, okay, that's fine. So we'll turn that down a little bit. There we go. Right, so that's got the butter melted. Beautiful. Right, so now for adding in le oignon. Boy, I hope this is big enough. In the recipe, she does actually state what size pan you need. And I was just like, I want to be fancy, I want to use my cast iron. It's an old recipe, cast iron, some of the oldest cookware. Let's get it done. Now, I know the recipe's thinly cut, but damn, I suck. Onions sticking to me everywhere. Right. So we want 15 minutes on the timer for these to cook down. Alrighty, we are back. Hopefully the light's not gonna take a leap of faith again. Oh, that is hot. Gotta remember that with cast iron, it gets hot. Yeah, so some of the onions did catch a little bit, but you know, we'll pretend that didn't happen because we are about to enter the browning process. It's just that one little bit over there that's stuck. That's fine, right? So next we are going to be adding in a 1/4 teaspoon of sugar and a teaspoon of salt. Now, a 1/4 teaspoon doesn't really seem like much, but I will take Julia check this. 1/4 teaspoon, not 1/4 tablespoon, right? Yeah, TSP. Yeah, 1/4 TSP. Right, now I've been smart and I've organised all of my kitchen stuff into pots. And I put the sugar right at the back. Right, so really that little amount of sugar. I'm just gonna wing it, add in a little bit more. A little bit for the pot. Right, and then we want some salt. So we want a full teaspoon of salt. Now I'm using flaky, so I'm going a little bit extra, and then of course later on you can add extra salt and pepper because I've already read through the recipe. So now we need to actually be on this for browning these now. I need to try and find the little cover for my cast iron, because that is toasty. Now we want to brown these, and we want to... I'm just going to take out that little bit, because that's a little bit too brown, I think, already. I don't want it burning. So for the next... See, it says now turn up to moderate. I reckon what it's on now is moderate. So I'm going to say that was on me. We need to cook this for 30 to 40 minutes, stirring frequently until the onions have turned even deep golden brown. Then we need to sprinkle in some flour. So I think 1.5 ounces of flour and so it's about the same amount of flour as butter we had earlier, so I can actually just weigh that out. Right, and then because of spillage, there we go. I do have bigger pots of those, but I'm just stupid apparently. Right, I want to make sure you don't have too much onion up on the side as well. That is browning beautifully already. But we'll be back once that is a nice uniform brown colour. I have cleaned up the mess I've made, and it's time to add the flour. Okay, so it has been about half an hour. I'm being very aware of the time as I'm doing this, as it is a Tuesday night. So we want to... Now they have kind of uniformly... Apart from like the really big bits, they have mostly all become the same sort of colour. They're all nice and jammy. So I am happy with that for now. Yep, turned an even dark golden brown. And then sprinkle the flour and stir for 3 minutes. Now, I am no genius, as you guys well know. So I'm going to do something weird for me, is I'm going to sift in the flour to try and get rid of any lumps. Now, sifting while stirring. Just try and minimise those big floury lumps. That is thickening up quite a bit. I don't know if I need all of this flour. It did say... But then again, it might just be thickening up the soup in general, because now we're cooking the flour before adding in the stock. And kind of like you would for a roux, you kind of partly cook the flour, get those starch proteins and everything all popping and thickening up everything nicely. But this is how much flour it equated to. I will put all of the book weights down in the description. I might have fudged it, I don't know. You guys can let me know. I'm just going straight from the book and then Google translating for measurements. And then whilst that's simmering, we're going to be doing something fancy with the bread. So yeah, that is thick, gooey, bit stringy. So that's just the onions for you. So then sprinkle the flour, stir for 3 minutes, away from the heat, blend in the boiling liquid, add the wine, season to taste, simmer for 30 to 40 minutes further. Okay, so that will be 3 1/4 pints of boiling bouillon. or beef stock. Now, I am no fancy man. I have work, so unfortunately my beef stock does come in cube form. Alright, let's see if we can just use the power of induction. Have I got a thermometer somewhere? Probably. I don't want to use my infrared one, really, because that's how you summon Arthurs. Because for a bulldog, he sure does like to chase laser pointers. Yeah, so that's basically boiling. Right, turn that down. Down, please. Oh, I love how fast that stops boiling. That's great. Right, so yes, away from the heat, blend in the boiling liquid, add the wine, season to taste. So we are away from the heat. I'm just going to pour that over. I'm not going to... Yes, I know, you need a pot. Yes, I'm going to put a pot on you in a minute. Calm down. Put that pot over there. And then we'll put this pot up here. Right, and then you want it to be simmered, right? Ooh, vegetable soup. I could just do the whole of Souptember just like Julia Child style. That'd be pretty cool. Right, and then simmer partially covered for 30 to 40 minutes or more. Skimming occasionally, correct the seasoning. So, seasoning wise with soups, I like to season right at the end, because obviously your soup is going to be cooking down. So if you add in a load of salt at the start, and then your soup reduces, at the start when you've got a lot of soup and it tastes really good, it's just going to be really salty right at the end. So I say, when it comes to soups, I'm very much in the camp of do it at the end. What do I do with the whisk? There it is. Right, and then of course, she wanted the wine in as well. So it would be rude not to have a little cheeky, say, a cap full of the wine. Now this is a Pinot Grigio, which was recommended for this. You want a nice dry white wine. Delicious. Doggo inbound. Point proven. Stop buying laser pens. Just get a thermal thermometer. Bye, buddy. Right, anyway, so for these, we want to be toasting these in the oven at 375 Fahrenheit, which I have done a bit of a translate again, which is around 160 Fahrenheit. No, 160 Celsius, 325 Fahrenheit. So we want to be toasting these up, we want to be drying them. Now there's a couple of variations you can do with these. You can like spritz them with a bit of oil and butter. Yeah, so you can do hard toasted French bread, or you can do cheesy ones, which is you spread each side with grated cheese, sprinkle with a few drops of olive oil, beef dripping, brown butter. Then you brown it under the grill before serving. So I think I'm just going to give them a little spritz with oil. Just on each side. Helps if you turn them over. Which one's way done? I don't know. So yeah, this is just a store-bought baguette cut into about 1-inch slices. So 15 minutes. You want to flip those over. Now, if you want as well, you can rub them with a bit of garlic. Right, so she did want that to be partly covered, but at the moment, I'm not going to partly cover it because I'm bending the rules. You have a little skim on the top. Right, and then, yeah, that's just going to simmer for about 40 minutes. Then we're going to do the bread. And then I guess once this whole thing is cooked up, I can then just put, like, the croûtes on top. One thing as well she said is, like, put a poached egg in it. So if I remember how to poach an egg, I might try that as well. Who knows? Anyway, we'll be back in, what, 40 minutes. So I think it's just... kind of like that. I suppose, actually, yeah, that is... It's like, I guess, kind of mincing the garlic onto the bread. This one is a little bit crispier. I guess that is a thing that works, yeah, because you're kind of getting, like, minced garlic. It's basically like sanding down the garlic. Okay, I thought this wasn't going to do anything. I thought it was just going to, like, impart the essence of garlic, but... Now, you can actually see that it has cooked down quite a bit. Now, I have been cooking it uncovered, which is not how it was said to do. That's hot. Right, before I nuked my taste buds, that was tasting pretty good. So I'm going to let that go for a little bit longer, just with, you know, the black pepper, just let that infuse into it a bit more. And then I will work out how I want to serve. Alright, let's just try soup as is. Water is getting up to a nice boil. Now I can only imagine how good that would be with, you know, a homemade stock, but really hard for me to make a stock here because for some reason the UK, especially like where I am, has got rid of like so many butchers and everything. Like, there's nowhere I can really go to just get, you know, like beef bones and stuff. Right. So I remember something about a vortex. And then you want to pour the egg into the middle. I think I may have made the vortex a little bit much. Yeah, I might have done the vortex just slightly. I'm going to put a croûte in there. I'm going to try and get the egg on top, but fail miserably. Get rid of that eggy foam. And go for a little bit of a Parmesan brush on top. Right, so now time for, as a wise woman on the internet once said, it's time for the taste test. Now, I'm not sure where to... I guess I'm just going after a bit of the egg, because I've tasted the soup, and I've tasted the croûte. Maybe if I just get a bit of the soup, a bit of the yolk, let's go across the egg. No. Bit of the egg, bit of the soup, go across the bread. That is good. Sorry for all the crunching, like, this microphone is attached to my hat. That is good. For basically what it is just onion and stock, like in its absolute simplest form. It's onions and stock. Oh my god, I love induction. That's amazing. Right, anyway. Yeah. Onions and stock can just turn into this. I say, if I could get hold of like beef bones and things, I might have a look online and revisit this soup at some point. But yeah, if I can get like proper stock stuff like bones and all that joy without going to a pet shop. But that was amazing. I do recommend it with the egg, just as a little bit of extra flavour to it. I say, like, you could just do a fried egg, but obviously the poached egg, you got to go that little extra mile for Julia. Now, this is the first Julia Child recipe I've done. I understand why a lot of people do Julia Child cooking. Now, I do have Mastering the Art of French Cooking 1 and 2. So this probably won't be the last time that we see Julia popping up on the channel. But yeah, this is... It's a lot of soup I need to eat. So I'm hoping it freezes well. Or I'm going to be eating soup for like a week. Yeah. Now I get to tidy up the kitchen, walk the dog and go to bed. But at least I'm going to bed knowing that I have had absolutely amazing meal. And I'm determined to not ruin it by putting chili in it. Everything in me wants to put chili in this because pepperoni, hence the name. But no, we're staying away from chili today. We're just doing it Julia Child style because with the garlic on the croûte, it's got that nice little heat to it. Like, it's not like chili heat, it's raw garlic heat, which is completely different level. But yeah, absolutely amazing. If you do have like 2.5 hours to make a soup, you could probably slow cook this. I would be highly surprised if you couldn't do some sort of slow cooker version of this. But if you do have 2.5 hours, amazing soup. So simple. Kilogram of onions, almost 2 litres of stock, bit of flour, bit of butter, beautiful. And the croûtes, the cheese, the egg, just all added extras. Like, the soup on its own is good. It's great. Anyway, that wraps up week 1. Ow, my foot. Anyway, that wraps up week 1 of Souptember 2025. We'll be back next week. Don't know what with, but we'll be back.